Okay. And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the first episode of season 2 of the FreudenFreude weekly broadcast. Here we are.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sandra Corona.
And I am Claudia, and we are
Our
coaches.
coaches.
There we go. There we go.
Hi, everybody. Like I said, I'm Sandra Corona, and I am a coach for expats, for neurodiverse community, and for young professionals.
There you go. We're a little bit out of practice, people.
Yes.
Right? Yes, yes, yes. And I am the coach that you call if your leadership challenges keep you awake at night. So I do work with corporate leaders as well as their teams in tech and beyond. So there we go. So to ease us into things today, we went with a, for us at least, very appropriate topic, and that is the challenge of getting back into things.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. So some of us have had a more or less long summer and have maybe disconnected quite a bit from the everyday. And so now here we are. It's actually already beginning of October. Um, and maybe some of us still have a little bit of challenges getting, like I said, back into the swing of things. So how's it for
Yes.
you, Sandra?
Well, for me, it's been exciting because it's going to be Halloween, and I'm just pulling out one of the many little things that I have ready for decorations for Halloween.
Oh, she's a decorating diva. There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, I am. So I'm excited, but before I could reach to this point, there was a process of trying to get back into the swing of things, right? It took a long time because once you take some time off, it's so good taking time off. Like you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to prepare anything, and you're just enjoying your time off without thinking about anything. But then again, I'm going to be honest. I was active on LinkedIn, and I was working on my profile for Facebook and Instagram. I mean, it was like, okay, I took time off, but technically I didn't. It Because I still would come and sit down in front of my desk and work and everything else. I guess it was FreudenFreude. I guess it was the subjects. I guess it was, every day, every week, you and I coming together so that we can come up with a topic. I think it was that. And that made it hard. I don't know why. Instead of it making it fun, it became hard. And I know there's a lot of people out there that enjoy what they're doing, like us, but it still feels a little bit hard to get into the emotion, the passion of it to a certain extent of things. What do you think, Claudia? How about you?
Well, I think when I think about the 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 momentum that we have, for me, there's actually mostly two parts of it. There's the habits, there's the tactical, the logistical layer of it, of like get up at a certain time, sit at your desk, do the things that you have to be doing, go through your to-do list, refocus on the the focus that you want to have for the week and then work at it
Yes.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So those kind of habits, that is for me one part of it. And the other part is the actual concentration.
Mm.
It's like if you take a longer break, and I took a longer break over the summer due to a small vacation, but also because
Mm-hmm.
of some health issues that kept me away. I had a back injury and things like that. So it seems that even if I get up at the right time and I sit at my desk and I have decided what I want to do, that there's still kind of this lack of concentration, not passion, because I am very passionate about the work that I do and the contribution that I want to do. And maybe to some extent it's also because my what you call it, networking and work calendar hasn't filled up quite as much yet. Because
Mm,
if I talk to fellow coaches, if I talk with you, if I have sessions with clients, then, that is what is going to get me back into that framework, into that headspace that's then going to
mm,
be so fulfilling. And that's going to be the excuse me, the just the gas in the tank that keeps you going.
mhm,
So two
mhm.
parts of
Right,
it.
the motivator, right,
Right? And I think
right,
that for
right.
me at least, starting with the tactical is the
Mm,
first step. Even if you don't feel about it, even if you don't feel quite impatient yet to get back to work, even if you have still issues with being all fire and flame to work, nevertheless set your calendar, be consistent with getting up, with being at your desk, with doing the little things that you can, even if in the very beginning it's little bit inefficient still, but setting that back into motion, I think, is the first step, at least for me. How is it for you?
Um, as a ADHDer, for me, it's different. And it becomes a chemical thing, right? Where the motivation is not there. And so I have to find ways, like I have to find little tools so that I can get into the motion of things. And the way that I do it is by thinking, just thinking about it. Like, Sandra, what is that you have to do today? And I think, okay, I have to do X, Y, and Z. And then I say, oh, but you also have to do this. Right. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's true. So every single day, I think about it. I know it's ridiculous, but I think about it because I've already set myself a goal to say by this date, I should already be working on this and this and this. So before that date happens or comes, I'm motivating myself. I'm creating that motivation by thinking about it, right? And then suddenly I apply the 3-second rule, and I say, "You need to sit down." Like I, I walk by the office, and I'm like, "Oh," I close the door. Well, after some time, what I do is that I keep the door open, and then I say, "Just sit down. Just sit down for a second. Try it out." And then I sit down. And so that's how I slowly start doing my thing. And then suddenly when I least realize, I'm checking my emails again, I'm doing my things. So for me it's different than for you. And it's about motivation. It's about finding inspiration, because also now it's, what is the topic that I'm going to cover? What am I going to talk about? What has happened? What is important in my life that is worth sharing, right? So yeah, that's how I do it. That's how I get into the groove of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So really, really good. Yeah, this kind of like these moments of willpower to move us just a little bit forward, and then pairing that with literally the celebration of like, yay, I made it to my desk. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
because and actually just as a parenthesis, I think for people like us that work from home and are self-employed, we lack kind of the structure that's imposed by our employers, where you have to commute and go to the
Mm.
office, and
Mm.
kind of are in this community of uh, similarly suffering people. But
True.
we're kind of the just the atmosphere and the ambiance of being in the workplace can kind of be something that holds you accountable to the work to be done.
Mm-hmm.
The big advantage and the big disadvantage of being a solopreneur is that you are your own boss, right?
Yeah.
our brains being what they are, coming up with 10 million excuses why not to do something, can work against us at some point. So
Yes.
I think that, for us, sometimes it's really worthwhile celebrating the small wins, because I really think that too, it's kind of this little drop of motivation that gets, this little reward for doing at least something. And before you know it, that will, you're able then to fan that fire and to do more and more. And sometimes it takes us, a few days to really get into it. And at
Yep.
some point, then you just have to be gracious about it and allow yourself that time. Uh,
Yes.
Deadlines help too, like what you said, right? I mean, if you have a hard deadline of a workshop that you committed or a proposal that you committed to, you are going to get your butt in gear. It's because you don't have a choice. I think
Yes.
this free ranging monkey of being able to be busy without dedicated structure, that can often be the killer of all these things.
Hmm.
Another thing I think that really helps is to actually step back and look at our why. Remind ourselves why we're doing all that. Because,
Mm.
we started a business, we're doing this kind of, and I'm sure all of us do retrospectives regularly, at the very least once a year, once a quarter, and so on, where we remind ourselves why we even do this
Mm.
work, this contribution to, a larger ecosystem, and so on. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes just reminding ourselves, with full awareness, why have I become a coach or a trainer or an engineer, or whatever your case may be, is then this kind of rebuilding of a foundation on which we stand. And
Right.
then I think the next step would be about, okay, so now we know why we want to do this. Let's take a look again, without stress, let's take a look again at our work model or business model, as the case may be. Where are my strengths? Where do I want to contribute most? Which kind of projects am I involved with? And literally get the lay of the land again,
Hmm.
because sometimes some things just get forgotten, and then you feel uneasy that, oh, am I even focusing on the right thing, or is there
Right.
something forgetting? What email might I have missed over the last couple months, and things like that. So, I think just taking a step back, go a little bit meta, and look again at the why of the overall thing, and then the larger picture of the projects and interests and overall direction that your work should go, or that you want to take it, is then going to get your brain again into the correct lanes.
Yeah,
And
right. Right.
does that help you?
Well, yeah, I mean, what comes to mind is vision, right? We have to have a vision of things, because one of the great things that NLP has proven is that the brain does not know the difference between imagination and fact, something that is happening, not fact, but something that is happening. So you trick your brain into doing something by thinking about it and imagining and having that vision to say focus on what you want to achieve. And that's why I say, I put that date in my mind and I say, by this time I have to be doing this. But then I also do other little things, it's that work that you do around it. It's not just, oh, I'm going to visualize it and it's going to happen. But like, I can tell you, for example, for me, it's putting a nice scent in the room, right? One of those Glade things in the room, that it automatically sprays that beautiful gardenia scent. And it's like, oh, so you want to be in that room. You want to be a part of it. And then you surround yourself by nice things that you want to achieve, things that are not feeling so overwhelmed, like forcing you practically into getting into things. But for example, I put a Black Panther, a jaguar, in one of my books, because for me, the jaguar represents somebody that is always ready. Like there is not a bone and muscle in their body that is not always prepared. Even when they're resting, they're always observing, they're always doing something. They're always alert. And so for me is I try to embody, let's say, that idea of what a jaguar or a Black Panther does by just having that picture here in my notebook. Right. And so, little things like that, and giving myself permission. And we've talked about this many times, giving myself permission to say, you know what, if you don't feel ready, it's okay. Just remember, you have a responsibility. Have that respect for your job, for the things that you're doing. It's so, so important, because if you don't respect what you do, there's no value that you're going to give to the world.
Right.
Right?
I fully agree with like the mitigation. For me, it's the scents as well. I have a Lily of the Valley room spray that I spray sometimes. I write pretty fountain pen, those few lines that I actually handwrite because I'm a typer. But all these, I call it mitigation, right? It's like when
Okay.
you clean your kitchen, have a cleaner that smells well.
Mm.
Just have music going that you like. It's these things that make it more fun, really.
Exactly.
And that are choices, actually. I think that it's nice to remind ourselves that we have choices in certain things, however small. And yeah, so I see where you're coming from with this with the Black Panther thing. It's especially the thing you said about this respect, because it's the respect for the job, it's the respect for all the effort we have put in up to now, it's the respect for our clients as
Mm-hmm.
well, right? Because they, if they engage with us, they are do the very best that we can offer, and not a lacking
Mm-hmm.
version of ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it's respect for them, but it's also pride for your work,
Mm-hmm.
and so, you know, I also think that when you get the lay of the land of the different tasks that are fundamental in moving you and your business forward, it is helpful to have different types of them. Okay. Uh, for instance, there's moments when, social media gets kind of put aside, and then I go to writing
Okay.
because I have a couple books in the works. Whenever they're coming out, they're going to come out, but I do work on them, which is a different kind of work than the social media thing, which is a different kind of work from bookkeeping, which is a different kind of work from just studying something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that then part of all this is also, and it's a prime mitigation as well in the end, is do the work you're able to do in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
which should be used with a little bit of care, because we don't want to get into a sense of busyness, solely
Yeah.
focusing on one thing because maybe it's less cumbersome, less uncomfortable, or
Mm-hmm.
satisfying at the expense of others. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, as you contemplate your day, having some variety in it and some variety in the moment, uh,
Mm-hmm.
can really be helpful, especially to switch around between different things, because we do
Oh yeah.
physiologically get tired, if you have been, let's say, writing for an hour, or doing, because when I write, I also lay out. So your
Mhm,
eyes get tired. Then to move from that into something that is different,
mhm.
is going to feel more refreshing rather than
Yes,
staring at the same thing
yes,
for hours. How
correct.
how do you manage the different parts of your business? Do you have a set schedule, or do you deal with it pretty much in the moment as well?
So I deal with it pretty much on the moment, just because I know how distracted I can get. Okay. I could have a plan. Okay. But I know that something's going to sidetrack me. I know that I'm going to get a little bit bored, like you say, about the same task, the repetitiveness of the tasks that we do just by writing an email. Okay, you can write 2 to 3 to even 4 emails, but by the time you have to write the fifth one, you're like, you know what? I need a break. Okay, you need a break, exactly. And so what I do is that, if it's a season like right now, Halloween, I go out and I start decorating. I do something different, something that allows me to feel distracted. And then I might get a little bit too into it, but then I know that I have to stop. So I have the ability to say when to stop. And then at that time, I know that my brain is almost like clear, let's put it that way, because I'm no longer thinking about what I was doing before. So I can come back, sit down and say, okay, where was I? And then I could put a little bit of music, right? And then because I've already typed the same email 4 times. So basically, what I need to do is I can copy and paste from one of them and then just personalize it. And so, you find ways to make things easier for
Mhm.
you. I do a lot of, for example, in the mornings, cycling. So what I do is that I go out, and the way I motivate myself just to do that task itself is that I think about the breeze that right now in Saudi Arabia there is, which is so strange, the beautiful weather that is happening, and I imagine myself enjoying that weather, listening to the music as I do it, how free I feel by just going like it's a mindless task. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. And so, oops. And so by doing a mindless, I see even the dogs, they're like, yeah. um, by just doing certain things that one of them keeps you busy, the other one is mindless, the other one is enjoying just music distraction, and then just sitting back down and saying, okay, I already gave I already filled my tank, right? With what I feel it I need inspiration with. And then I sit down and now I'm more comfortable.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, that's what I do. Um, in order for me to get back into that process, to get a little bit of distraction. I order coffee, right? I order my Starbucks, and it's like, it's like it's my little pick me up that I say, good job, you deserve a coffee.
coffee having delivered, that you can even dream of things like that over here. Ain't happening. But good for you, good for you. Actually, one of the things that I noticed for myself is that it's of paramount importance for me to have a productive day, to start with a productive butt in the chair work session in the
Okay.
in the
Okay.
because I find that if I let myself kind of ease into the day too much, and then I get kind of sidetracked, and then later during the day, it's very difficult to sit down and start getting productive, for instance, in the afternoons. So if the morning routine is essentially get up, get ready, do your morning routine, and start work, then it's much, much, much more likely, even if that initial session only lasts an hour or whatever, that during the day I am going to be able to be productive and have more
Mm,
sessions like that. It's kind of like priming the mental machine to have a work day rather than
mm,
a non-work day or a leisure day.
mm.
Have you ever noticed something like that?
Constantly. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, you know what you know, does she not even know what I'm talking about? But it seems like
Yes, no, it's constant. Again, because of my neurodiversity, it just it's constant. And that is the thing that I have to work on. So not only do I have to work on motivating myself, I have to work on focusing and on removing the distractions to say, um, this is what I'm going to do. I'm motivated. uh some self-talk and stuff like that you have to do. I mean, constantly, I can tell you that. So
but I think that even the neurotypical people can absolutely relate to that because
mm,
ultimately it's all a mind game, right?
mhm,
Ultimately, it's all about us trying to figure out these ways to keep on task, keep motivating, not doing the much more enjoyable, other non-work related things in that are options, right? I mean,
yeah,
go and binge watch a show instead of working, right? Ultimately it's you yourself who
yeah,
have to have this discipline to stay on task and talk yourself out of those options and
hmm,
into the productive, contributing kind of elements that are part of your work. Right.
that's right, that's right. I mean, the work that we do is so beautiful that when you think about it, how could you not feel inspired by what we do? um it's it would be it would be doing a disservice to yourself, to the people that you serve, by not sitting down and dedicating and giving it the time. And I think for me it's about reaching out to people, because it's so beautiful when people reach out to you. You feel like, oh God, good, I have something, I have a purpose. I have a purpose. I'm going to do this. This is what I signed up for, because there's a reason why you created your company. There's a reason why you're here. Whether it's going to be profitable in a year, in 2 years, it doesn't matter. Keep on doing it. I don't know how it is for other people, but you know, I know it's not easy when it's not profitable for 1 or 2 years, but the more you push, the more you continue. This is something that I wanted to talk about also, that the more you push towards doing what you're doing, no matter how hard it is, no matter how disheartening it is, because sometimes it is disheartening. You put yourself out there, you put promotions, you look for clients, and you do all these kind of things. And then you feel disheartened because nothing happens and people stop.
Yeah.
So what I think is, you know what? I'm blessed because I have my husband's support. You have your husband's support. You have the ability to do wonderful things. You have a book. I have the time. So you're thinking, hell, what am I doing with myself? Why am I watching this show that I've probably watched 10, 20, 30 times? Let me go and sit down and be productive for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Let me see what's out there. And that's how you get into things. That is how it is so worth doing what we do, because the more you push yourself to doing, the more you learn as a business owner and as a coach.
Right.
What do you
Because
think?
there's really two parts of this here. See,
Yeah.
I'm a coach. I'm a coach down to my core. Okay. I dream in Technicolor coach. So that's who I am. That's what I like to do. I also love to talk about coaching, and
Mm-hmm.
I network and interact with a lot of other coaches where we talk about the ethics of it, the work of it, the
Mm-hmm.
tools of it, the coaching posture, and so on. That is truly my passion, to coach, to help people, to exchange with other coaches, and so on. So
Mm-hmm.
as there's zero effort required when that's on your calendar,
Mm-hmm.
because it is so fundamentally me that if there's a coaching session there, I'm going to be on, and it's going to be fantastic.
Oh
It's more
yeah.
like the challenge of all the ancillary things that go into, for instance, running a coaching business.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that you have to put in place in order for the coaching bit to function and you to have clients and things like that. So that is more like the troublesome part for me, right? That
Okay.
motivated to get that machinery back up and running, because it's also a longer game, right? I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if you're visible on social media, that does not mean that you're going to have a coaching client 2 months down the road. It's
Exactly.
you have to do it in order to be visible, in order to put yourself out there. But it's kind of like pulling teeth.
Mm.
It's not what makes you get up in the morning. Coaching is
Mm-hmm.
what gets you get up in the morning. And so I think
Yes.
we have to remind ourselves that it's just part of the game. No
Mm-hmm.
matter what you do, there's always going to be facets that are not so much up your alley. We're talking now about us and our little private coaching practice, but just think of anybody in corporate,
Yep.
any entrepreneur. There's things that just light your spark, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that you have to do that are as much part of the whole thing as that
Mm-hmm.
are not, you know, your thing. That you would rather do many, many things besides that. And so that is then, I think, the ones that where we realize the most that we are out of the swing of things.
Mm.
Understand? It's like in my case, I can get right back into coaching, but for me to get back into social media
Oh
is
yeah.
painful, because I realized that I lost momentum. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So it's kind of that, this getting back into priming the pump, and until the stuff is again flowing. I think that
Yes.
why those things are hard are because we realize much more that we're out of the habit of doing them.
Yes. Yes, correct. You know what has helped a lot of people, for a little tip, a side tip, kind of has to do a little bit. But in order for you to be a better, let's say, employee, since you're in corporate, choosing to be in corporate has a huge responsibility. And that choice, I've heard that if you treat the company, the business, like if it was yours, you take a different approach towards what you do every single day. Right? And it's like you and I, like, we know this is our business, so we dedicate time to it. We try to do our best. We find ways to make it better. And we're every day experimenting and doing things that are going to work. I mean, bless those people that are in corporate, because all they have to do is just, come in, do their job, because it's already structured. They already know what they have to do. You and I, we're creating that structure. right? And so in order for us to feel motivated, we have to find the ways of making it our own. We have to find that, like I said before, the motivation, the vision, the purpose, right? Because uh, those are values, right? Those are part of the values. When you ask yourself, what value am I not living by me not sitting down in front of this computer and doing what I have to do? It doesn't matter. It works both for an employee as it works for an owner, right? And so the more you ask yourself, if every task that you're procrastinating to not do, you ask yourself, what value am I not living? It changes everything. It really does. I think for me also, you said something at the very end, and I kind of lost what I wanted to say about that. Oh, yes. One of the other things that is important to do is that I've realized that I make it easier on myself when I talk about things that I know. When I do things that I know, what makes it hard, and it makes it hard for a lot of people, not just neurodiverse, for normal people, is that when you don't know something, you think about the work that it implies to get to it. Here's the thing, you have to ask yourself, like, well, why am I not getting to it? What's going on? What's blocking me, right? And so I realized that when I talk about things that I do know, I don't have to work so hard. And that's why I sit down happily most of the times, because I say, well, I got this. I do this every single day. So why is it so hard? And that's when I remind myself, you got this. You do this every single day. Don't complicate your existence. If you need to learn something new, dedicate a day, X, Y, and Z day, where you don't have appointments, when you don't have to go anywhere, and sit down and learn. And that's it. Just do what you have to do. And when you do what you have to do, it is so much easier to sit down in front of the computer and do what you have to do. What do you think?
Right, right, right. Also the progress of a perfection kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Reliable product and consistently work on it, and it's it's going to work out because little bit over time definitely adds up to quite a bit. I think that maybe it bears also mentioning that maybe one of the things that to some extent we envy other people for that go into an office job
Hmm.
is that there's other people,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm an extrovert. For me, being around other people is something that gives me energy. I love working in teams. I love working with other people, having exchanges, even just being in an atmosphere where other people are around can be helpful, can be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, then it's tough when it's just you in your office for long periods of time. So I think that for some of us who might have more trouble getting into the swing of things, maybe finding a support system or, setting time where everybody works together, or getting people that are on your team even in a self-employed kind of situation can literally help you there because it helps with the
Mm-hmm.
whole energy bit but also the accountability bit.
Yes.
you
Yes.
make you make appointments with other people and then you honor those commitments quite often.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
nothing else works, get a support system, work with other people. And I have even seen that people are going to um, make appointments with others to just independently work, each person at their desk while the Zoom is running, right?
Okay.
Let's schedule a work session, and you just have Zoom in, you say hi, and now, okay, for the next 45 minutes let's work, and then let's take a 5-minute break to chat, and then continue doing that. And so just figure out what it is that you need to mitigate the things that are getting you off track. If you
Mm-hmm.
works better with people, find people. If you are somebody who needs to be out of the house, get out of the house in order to do the work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you are somebody who absolutely needs a very tight deadline, sign up for a deadline. And not
Mm-hmm.
just in your own head, but literally make a commitment to host a workshop or prepare a presentation
Mm-hmm.
or deliver a course or whatever. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's really whatever gets you in the game. It requires some self-knowledge about what makes you tick, what gets you going. Each of us is different, but also kind of just accepting the fact that it's normal. It's normal that there are moments that we have trouble getting back into the swing of things, that it might take a few days or maybe even a little longer in order for you to be settled into it again, that it becomes your new full-time habit again of being present. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What you're saying is basically support. That's the word. You need support from anywhere that you need it. I have to repeat myself because I wanted to find a way to say this. My support system is my little family, my 4 dogs in the morning while my husband goes to work. And obviously my husband, even though he's at work, I get to pick up the phone and I talk to him. I say, hey, this is going on. I feel like this. And then he helps me out. Okay, I hang up and I feel better. But for me, yes, I agree with you. Being around people lately for me has been like this inspiration, this thing that I feel great. I come back home and I feel like, yes, I did something, I accomplished something. And then but then also when I don't have the opportunity to go out, I sit down here in front of the computer, and my dogs, beautiful, loyal dogs, all of them, they lay down here, and they're just waiting for me to finish my calls. Once they hear me say, okay, bye, or something like that, immediately they all get up. Yes, they all get up and they're like, okay, mom, let's go and play. Those are the distractions that you get to have because, people, dogs, pets, they're your motivation, they're your support system. I know a person, why do companies now allow for people to bring their pets to the office? Because in some way, somehow, you feel that support that you need, that you're still at home, I don't know, it's different. Something that's never happened in Saudi Arabia, by the way, I know of a company that is allowing one person to bring their pet to the office. And it's amazing. It's the first company that has done this. And I know the doggy is amazing, and he feels so happy. He works better. And that's how I feel. I work better. You have your kitties. It comforts you to know where they are. You're seeing them and you laugh a little bit of their silliness and you go back to work, those kind of things. So for me, you're right. Support, get it however you can from whatever is good for you.
Right. And so that really, is important, that we figure out, first of all, what do we need? Why are we doing this? What do we need in order to keep up this discipline? What kind of support can we get? What kind of accountability mechanisms can we put in place? and last, maybe before we start to dial it down, is the whole idea that be mindful that if something is truly too hard and there's so much constantly resisting in you
Mhm.
to do it, take a really close look if it is still aligned with your values and with what you
Mhm.
want to achieve.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we have to do items on our list that are outdated. They are no longer what we are. They just don't fit anymore. And they're still there because of some maybe vague idea that you had in the past, maybe a commitment that you made, but that's not really true anymore. And then
Yes.
take a really close look, because maybe this resistance, this lack of discipline on this particular project or whatever, maybe is telling you something. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not just laziness. Maybe it's just not a loss of momentum. Maybe there's something deeper behind it. And
Mhm.
then taking a really close look, either by yourself or with your coach, to really see if that's still something you want to keep, or if it
Mhm.
might actually be helpful to just say goodbye to it.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. You and I do that every week when we look into what we've planned, let's say, I don't know, a month before, and we say, okay, what was this about? And then I tell you about my idea, or you tell me about your idea. We're like, do we really still want to talk about that? And then so we do revision of our plans, and it works so much better because, like you say, it's what you identify with. Again, going back to what I said before, talk about the things that you know, or the things that you've experienced, the learnings and all this kind of stuff. I uh i think i think the best thing to do is to prepare yourself, really. I mean, if it makes it just, how can I say this? When it's hard, it's going to continue to be hard if you don't prepare yourself. And so little by little, prepare. You don't think that you have to immediately learn and talk about it immediately. Don't do that to yourself, because it just makes it hard for you. And it makes it hard for you to be here in front of a camera if you don't feel confident about what you're going to say.
Right,
What do you
right.
think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's give it time. Rome wasn't built overnight, and we have to settle on certain ways of thinking, certain mental frameworks, our own opinions, our own preferences. We have to explore it and see really where we stand, and that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes takes time. It takes additional learning. It takes discussions with other smart people, and then you take it from there. Absolutely.
It's right. That's right,
So,
Claudia.
if stuff is uncomfortable, it might just be because it's learning in progress, and that's all part of it.
That's right. I the other day my coach was asking me, so what does that tell you? We were talking about me feeling like I knew something when I really didn't know. And she's like, so how does that feel to you? What is this thing that you're feeling? And I said, knowledge. She's like, well, try this for size. She's like, how about you call it learning? I was like, okay. She's like, because before you have knowledge, you need to learn, and you're in the process of learning. So give yourself the chance to learn. It just, it makes sense, but it gave me goosebumps because I thought, yes, I'm running towards wanting to have knowledge before I have learning, before I understand things, before I have the ability to distinguish one thing from the other, and so on and so on. And it just changed me in a way that I thought, okay, there's a learning curve. I'm still in that learning curve. I'm in no rush of having knowledge yet, because I know it's going to take time.
Right. In any case, for me personally, actually, knowledge is it's the dream, it's the vision. I don't think you can ever really get there. For
Mm-hmm,
me, it's kind of the infinite thing. You get closer, but you never really
uh-huh,
reach it. Okay.
uh-huh,
So for
mm-hmm,
me, it's learning, it's agility, um, it's drawing mental connections,
mm-hmm.
uh, it's gaining more confidence about a topic or an aspect of the
Yes.
work and so on. But
Mm-hmm.
mostly it's about flexibility.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that allowing ourselves to explore this and when you learn, part of learning is experimenting, and then sometimes you fail, and that's okay, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
still learning, you're still experimenting. So then you kind of see it in a growth mode, growth
Yeah.
mindset, right? And
Yes.
stuff is not all
Yes.
that terrible, it's just part of
Right.
the process.
Right. The growth mindset, that's interesting. I'd like to finish today's recording with this opinion from my side. Um, Once again, give yourself permission of that learning curve and know that the learning curve has ups and downs, right? And that mindset, what matters is to know, yes, I'm going down, right? There's a learning curve where I know that I know nothing, I don't know everything, but then there's going to be that up again, right? Because everything that comes down has to go up. So that mindset is, remember, you are at a learning curve. Everything you do in life is at a learning curve. Just don't stay behind. That's what matters.
Just don't stop trying.
Uh-huh.
I mean, stop going at it, stop exploring. As long as you're doing that, you're golden. Try not to make the same mistakes 25 times. I
Oh,
can't do
yes.
that. But, even if you do, then you have figured out 20 with 25 times certainty that it wasn't the right thing to do. Well,
What not to do? That's true.
okay, so let's wrap it up for here today. Um, Thank you, everybody, for listening. It's our great pleasure. Thank you, Sandra, for a wonderful chat.
Thank
This
you,
was
Claudia.
very good, and I feel empowered to,
Yeah.
get back into the swing of things a little bit
Yes.
better. If you like this kind of content and would like to support us a little bit, please subscribe to the channel, give us a like, maybe a comment. That would be fantastic. And we are always eager to hear from you. So if you have maybe suggestions for a topic for a future episode, or might even want to join us, reach out to us. You are finding our contact information in the comments in the
Yes.
description to this video. Thank you. And,
Yes.
we are coaches, so we can also help you if you need a coach. So
Yes.
thank you so much, everybody. Sandra, this was great. I will see you
Thank you.
next week, and have a great evening.
Thank you. You too, Claudia. Bye bye.